Would you write an article on a topic that people have written on already?
No, I won't.
Why?
I mean, why should I? If someone has already written an article on a topic idea, then why should I write my own version of it? Anyways, I am just joking. If you have ever come across any video, article, or talk that I have made on technical writing, you would know that my answer to this question is yes. Yes, I would write my own version. And that's because it doesn't matter if someone has already written on it. And in this video, I'm going to explain why it doesn't matter if someone has already written on an article idea. And I'm also going to show you some scenarios where it actually matters if people have already written on an article idea. Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Dillion, and on my space here I share my experiences in my technical career as a software engineer, a developer advocate, and a technical writer, and I also share my experiences in life. So if these are things you love to see more of, then kindly subscribe to my channel. As I said earlier in this video, I am going to be sharing why it doesn't matter if someone has already written on a topic idea, why that shouldn't stop you from writing your own version of it. There are many reasons why you shouldn't care, to be honest, but I'm going to highlight two reasons in this video, and later on in this video I'm going to share one scenario where it actually matters if people have already written on a topic idea. The first reason why you shouldn't care if people have already written on a topic idea is, as humans, we are all unique and we are different in our own ways, and this applies to many things that we do and also applies to how we express ourselves when we write technical articles. We may write articles in different ways. Let's say we are three people, me, you, and the person who was asking me questions earlier. I may write articles and my articles may be more of illustrations because that's how I love expressing my thoughts. That's how I love teaching people. For you, it could be that you like sharing real life events, like this person bought this person a bicycle, this person passed their exams. For that person who is unknown, they may like sharing jokes in their articles. Maybe their articles are full of humor that can make the reader laugh and also understand what they're saying. Now, we all have different ways of explaining things, like I said. So if I explain things my own way and you explain things your own way, there are people who would value your own article compared to mine. Even if we write on the same things, let's say we all write on JavaScript arrays, the way I explain JavaScript arrays may be different from the way you explain JavaScript arrays, and somebody may understand your article even better compared to mine, or somebody may understand that person's article better compared to ours. So for the fact that we all express ourselves in different ways, it shouldn't stop you from expressing yourself in your own way. The fact that 50 people have already written on it just means 50 people have written on it in their own way. Most likely nobody has written it in your own way. So write your own version and people may learn from it. The second reason why you shouldn't care if people have already written on different topics and you feel like, oh, if someone has done this already, then why do I have to do mine? Is because as humans, again, we have different people in our lives at different points in time. For example, the number of followers I have on Twitter can be different from the number of followers you have on Twitter, or not just the number, even the people that are following us. The contacts that I have on WhatsApp or on Instagram or on Facebook is different from the contacts that you have on Instagram or Facebook. The people who look forward to my blog post are different from the people, or maybe different from the people who look forward to your blog post. And what does all this comparison actually mean? If I write on JavaScript array, for example, your contact may not know that I have written on this. But when you write on JavaScript arrays and you share it with your people, they get to see JavaScript arrays. So you can see that I have access to the people around me, my own audience. You have access to your own audience, and it's easy for me to reach out to my audience than for me to reach out to your audience, and the same vice versa. And here is an example. So let's say I write on something interesting in web development and we are like 50 people who have written about it. Your audience may not actually know that somebody has written on something like this. They may not even know that something like this even exists. But when you write your own article and you share it and then they see it and then they realize that, wow, so this exists. And apart from the fact that this exists, your article also shows them how they can do things like that. Because there's one article that I wrote, and when I wrote this article, it was already on MDN, it was already on W3 Schools, it was already in a couple of places. But when I wrote it and I shared it with my own audience, people were like, wow, so this exists in JavaScript. So for the fact that we have different people around us, friends, acquaintances, whoever we have around us, They're all different at different points in our life. So you can still write an article that has been written on before, and you would still be sure to meet new pairs of eyes or people who haven't even heard about that thing before. So yeah, these are the two notable reasons why you shouldn't do this. There are still a couple of more reasons. It's your blog, it's your space. People would find your content more relatable. I mean, there are so many reasons why you shouldn't care, but these are two very notable reasons. However, if someone has already written an article already, one thing you have to be careful of is copying exactly what they wrote. If you remember earlier, I talked about we humans being able to express ourselves in different ways. So you don't want to take what somebody has already written and then duplicate it and maybe change one word or two and then you have your own version. In truth, that is not your own version, let's be honest. But when you are creating your own version, expressing yourself in your own ways, it doesn't matter if people have already written about it. Now, what is one scenario where you should actually be careful if people have written about a particular topic? This is when you are being paid for it. Now, there are some organizations that pay you to write articles for them, and you hear things like your article should be new, your article should be authentic, your article should be unique. When there are these kind of clauses around the articles you should write, then you have to be careful. You don't want to pitch JavaScript arrays to them because there's already so many articles on JavaScript arrays. So what exactly are you writing new about JavaScript arrays that we should pay you for? So in such cases, there are two things. Number one, you can pick an article that has already been written on, and then you can try to convince the publication that, hey, this article I want to write, I know there are a couple of articles on them already on Google, but the way I want to explain it, trust me, is different. And this is how different it's going to be. I'm going to include this, I'm going to include that, I'm going to include this. And in the articles you see online, they don't include these things. You try to convince them that this article you're trying to write, even if it is so much everywhere on the internet, yours is actually still new. Or the second thing you can do is to drop that idea and look for an idea that hasn't been written on or that has very rare articles online. So in such cases, you have to, be mindful if something has been written on already, because I don't want to pay you to write something that people can easily find on the internet. But aside this scenario, you shouldn't care if someone has written an article already. You can create your own version. You have your own voice. You have your own unique style. You have your own audience, like I mentioned. Someone shared a tweet recently that said, you'll be surprised the amount of things that you call common that many people don't even know about. So go create that article and don't let the fact that because when you go on Google, it's on every page, even down to the 60th search page result. Don't let that hold you down. Write your article and create your own version. If you found this video very helpful, I would really appreciate one thing or two or three. First, like the video. Second, share it with whoever you feel found this helpful. And thirdly, like I said earlier, please subscribe. I would really appreciate your support. Peace.